Welcome to the first part in our series which looks at dialectal based therapy, otherwise known as sometimes DBT. This first part is going to look at the link with emotions, as that's very important in understanding how it relates to DBT. So coping with emotional dysregulation can be very difficult to cope with. The ups and down nature of emotions can be confusing and disorientating. It's a bit like being on a roller coaster. There's lots of ups and downs, and sometimes you have to cope with the feelings that you have along the way. Dialectal based therapy was developed by a lady called Marsha Lynham, and it's an adaptation of CBT, which can be very helpful. It can support people who suffer from very complex emotions and behaviour from those emotions. Dialectal is a very broad term. A dialect can be a conversation between two people with opposing viewpoints trying to sort of come to an agreement. Life is not black and white, and it can be in fact a very dingy grey. However, there can be an appreciation that both and many things can be true at the same time. So, looking at emotions. Emotions are feelings that derive from our circumstances, mood, or our relationship with others. Your emotions and feelings are very important, and they are shaped from years of experience and learning. Problems can occur when you respond to your emotions in a way that others or you may find different, difficult, or unacceptable. So looking at your basic emotions. Basic emotions are emotions which exist in all mammals. These emotions are localised in the same area of the brain and evoke the same physical reactions, and each of them is linked to an established reaction pattern. So when we have our newer social reactions, they exist in sort of more developed primates and humans. What are emotions for? So you'll have a feeling of fear. Do I feel in danger? Could what I face injure me? Could it kill me? Are they an enemy? Are they stronger than me? This is when that flight or fight response kicks in and our fears become intense enough to make some decisions. Fear can also make us freeze or play dead if the threat is overwhelming and we feel as though we are in mortal danger. So you've got a feeling of anger. If we identify someone or something that is standing in our way, we may show anger and see if they submit. If the person resists, the intensity of the anger will increase and it may lead us to attack. You've got sexual lust. This encourages reproduction and the continuation of the gene pool. We've got loving and caring. This motivates us to care for our offspring, family, partner and friends. You've got sadness and separation anxiety. These emotions function as an appeal for others to take care of us. Think of young children. A signal to our caregivers is that we are in danger, we are in need of protection, or that someone has become isolated from that group, or someone has lost their caregiver. You've got feelings of joy and play. This stimulates interaction with others so that one remains part of the pack and not a hermit. It increases our interactions with others. It introduces the limit to one's excitement and enables the development of strategies for dealing with anger through rough and tumble play. Curiosity. This motivates us to find out useful information about our surroundings, what resources there are available, where food and water may be found, where there is a safe place to hide, whether there are any available sexual partners, etc. Regulating emotions. So we need to develop an understanding of the duration of emotions, to have an ability to recognise our emotions, to be able to try and regulate, so manage our emotions before they reach a crisis point. Emotions are at a baseline level for everyone, and this varies for different people. A trigger can cause our emotional arousal to rise, and this eventually falls over time. Our thoughts can prolong the duration of high emotional arousal. Some people also with personality disorder have a higher resting level of emotional arousal. They can be triggered more easily, and they can take longer to return to that baseline level of arousal. And when some people are at a high level of arousal, they can be either overwhelmed with emotions, or they can be cut off from their emotions. So regulating emotions. So in DBT we use regulation skills in order to manage negative and overwhelming emotions. So what can be the benefits of regulating your emotions? So we need to bring our emotional reactivity down before we can start, the rational and the logical problem solving. Emotions can be very uncomfortable. Very high levels of emotions, they can lead us into crisis, because they overwhelm us and they cause us to act in impulsive ways. And these impulsive behaviours, well, they often have very negative consequences for us. For example, if you cause yourself an injury, you cause damage to your relationships with others, and so on. Strong emotional activation can shut down our ability to think or problem solve our way out of a difficult situation. Our brains interpret the heightened level of emotions as threatening to our survival. Nothing happens if we stop and melt, so to quieten the body, high emotion can lead to high stress, so you get all those, those feelings of your heart racing, you've got your fast breathing, your muscles tense up, and a prolonged high emotional state. Sometimes it can cause transient sort of psychosis in people with personality disorder. So utilising, self-harm as a way of regulating emotions is not a good way of accepting appropriate psychological help, and it can lead, to firefighting. For example, that's when people can end up in the emergency department of their local hospital. So in order to regulate our emotions, we need to be able to recognise and identify them first. It's really, really important that we do that. So, in terms of recognising emotions, so you've got yourself and how you feel. What is going on inside of you? How do you feel? Then you've got your environmental impact. What is happening around you? You've got other people. How are they responding to you? You've got your behaviour. What is it that you want to do? All these emotions and the effects of others, they motivate behaviours. So once we know what we are feeling, we can attempt to regulate the emotion by taking the opposite action. And this means engaging in behaviour that would be typical. So one is experiencing the emotion, you've got to sort of feel something that is in direct contrast. So as opposed to being in a high emotional state, you feel calm and balanced. Or if you're sad, you could try being, so let's make it simpler. You're feeling sad about something. You could try being active, smiling, laughing, engaging with friends as though you were happy. When you are experiencing anger, you can behave as though you are calm by speaking in a soft voice and doing something nice for someone. This skill is not aimed at denying the current emotion. You should still name that emotion and make sense of it. But acting in the opposite manner will likely lessen the length and severity of the negative feelings. So when you are feeling fearful, it's a bit of a cliche, but do what you were afraid of over and over and over again. Approach events, places, tasks, activities, people you were afraid of. Do things to give yourself a sense of control and mastery. When you're overwhelmed, you can make a list of small steps or tasks that you can do. When you're feeling those feelings of sadness, get active, approach, don't avoid. Do things that make you feel competent and boost your self-confidence. You've got when you're feeling angry, avoid the person you are angry with rather than tackling them. Also avoid thoughts of this person rather than dwelling on them. Say something nice rather than being mean or attacking someone. Imagine some kind of sympathy or empathy for the other person rather than blame. So that introduces us to the emotions that we feel, and that's the first part of learning about dialectal based therapy. So just a brief introduction. Please tune in for part 2, where we'll discuss more strategies and skills to be able to help you manage your emotions. Thank you very much for listening. Please like and subscribe for more videos on mental health and emotions. Thank you. Bye.